They called him the dream, but for opponents, he was a nightmare. Just ask David Robinson, who got spun around like he'd never played defense before. Hakeem Olajuwon had no weaknesses. He could score inside, step out and hit jumpers, protect the rim better than anyone in history, and even pick your pocket like a guard. He's the all-time leader in blocks, top 10 in steals, and when he retired, he was 7th in total points scored. But here's the crazy part. Hakeem didn't even touch a basketball until he was 15 years old. Growing up in Nigeria, he only played soccer, running around as a skitty goalkeeper, using his feet, learning balance, timing, and quick reactions. He once said, "All my fakes in basketball come from soccer body movement, footwork. That was my foundation." And somehow, that kid who barely knew what basketball was would come to America, transform himself, and become the most skilled center the game has ever seen. This is the story of a Nigerian kid who chased a dream and became a legend.
Early life and transition to basketball. Hakeem was born in 1963 in Lagos, Nigeria, the third of 6 kids in a family that owned a cement business. His parents expected him to run the family trade one day, but young Hakeem, as he was called then, had different dreams. Like most kids in Africa, he lived for soccer, and because he was always the tallest, he played goalkeeper, sharpening his reflexes and learning the footwork that would later make him unstoppable. As a teen, he also dominated in handball, using his size and agility to overwhelm opponents. But fate stepped in when he was 15. Hakeem joined a local tournament, even though he barely knew the game. At first, he was awful. When a coach showed how to dunk by standing on a chair, Hakeem climbed up too, not realizing he was supposed to jump from the floor. Despite being 6'7", he couldn't even dunk. But instead of quitting, he fell in love. He worked tirelessly, balancing basketball with handball for a year, until by 17, he stood 6'11", and his game had transformed completely. The kid who couldn't dunk was now moving with grace, power, and a foundation of footwork from soccer that no one had ever seen in basketball before.
Discovery and move to America. Tall, strong, and built like no one had ever seen. With a massive 7'5" wingspan, Hakeem Olajuwon started crushing competition almost instantly. Playing for Nigeria's junior national team at the U18 Afro-Basket tournament, he didn't just show flashes, he owned the court, winning MVP even though his team only got bronze. That's when an American scout named Christopher Pond noticed him. Pond saw raw gold in Hakeem, telling him he could get a scholarship in the US. The idea of going to America to play basketball blew Hakeem's mind. Through Pond's connections, visits were arranged with St. John's, Providence, Georgia, and Houston. When asked where he wanted to go, Hakeem chose Houston. The hot Texas weather reminded him of Nigeria, and he thought it would feel like home. But when he landed in the States, no coaches or school reps were waiting. He was told to just grab a taxi. And when he showed up at the University of Houston, this future NBA legend walked in wearing sneakers 2 sizes too small, because back in Nigeria, they didn't even make his size 16 shoes.
College career and development. Hakeem's first big challenge in America wasn't basketball. It was eligibility. The NCAA ruled him ineligible his first year at Houston, forcing him to redshirt. Instead of sulking, he treated it as a blessing. He lived in the gym, packed on muscle, learned English, and prepared for his moment. When he finally debuted in the 1981-82 season, he wasn't yet a star. Playing just 18 minutes per game, he averaged 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks. Still, his presence was felt. His shot blocking helped Houston reach the Final Four, where they ran into Michael Jordan's North Carolina. It was the first of 24 matchups between Olajuwon and Jordan. That day, MJ scored 18, while Hakeem managed just 2, and UNC went on to win the title. Hakeem had tasted big-time basketball, but he wanted much more. Determined to improve, he asked the Houston coaches how to take the next step. Their answer was simple: train with Moses Malone, the reigning NBA MVP. That summer, Hakeem walked into a rec center and immediately learned what American basketball was really about. "Moses was gentle when I met him," Hakeem said later, "but the moment we played, he wasn't gentle at all." Malone overpowered him, knocked him down, and made every possession a grind. The first time Hakeem tried to dunk on him, Moses slammed him to the floor. But the lessons were priceless. He learned to use quickness and agility against brute strength. Slowly, he found ways to score and defend against the MVP, and that gave him confidence. When the new season began, he wasn't the same player. Now stronger and far more assertive, Hakeem started every game for Houston. His dunks looked so smooth that his coach gave him the nickname The Dream. Alongside Clyde Drexler, he turned the Cougars into Phi Slama Jama, the first true dunking fraternity in college basketball. Their above-the-rim style made them must-watch TV. Hakeem averaged 14 points, nearly 12 rebounds, and over 5 blocks per game, leading the nation in rejections. Houston lost only twice in the regular season and reached the NCAA Finals as heavy favorites. In the title game, Hakeem dominated with 20 points, 18 rebounds, and 7 blocks. But NC State stunned the world with a last-second tip-in, pulling off one of the greatest upsets in NCAA history. Fueled by that heartbreak, Hakeem came back even better the next year. Averaging nearly 17 points, 13.5 rebounds, and close to 6 blocks, he led the nation in both rebounds and blocks. Once again, Houston made it back to the finals, this time against Patrick Ewing's Georgetown Hoyas. Hakeem actually outplayed Ewing in their head-to-head, but Georgetown's depth prevailed in an 84-75 win. Despite losing, Olajuwon was named the tournament's most outstanding player, the only time in NCAA history that honor has gone to someone on the losing team. By 1984, Hakeem had become the most dominant player in college basketball. A consensus first-team All-American, he had transformed himself from a late-blooming Nigerian teenager who didn't touch a basketball until age 15 into the best big man in the country. The foundation of his legendary NBA career was now in place, built on hard lessons, brutal workouts, and the unshakable drive to prove himself.
NBA draft and early professional career. Hakeem still had a year of eligibility at Houston, but the question was simple: stay in college or chase the NBA? He ended the speculation. I'm leaving this school this year. The Rockets had a 50% chance at the #1 pick through the old coin toss system, and Hakeem trusted his gut. He believed Houston would win, and he wanted to play there. He was right. Portland called tails, the coin landed heads, and Houston won. With the first pick in one of the greatest draft classes ever, Michael Jordan went 3rd, Barkley 5th, Stockton 16th, the Rockets selected Hakeem Olajuwon. Portland's choice of Sam Bowie at #2 instead of Jordan became one of the NBA's biggest what-ifs. In his autobiography, Hakeem even revealed a trade that nearly changed history. Portland was ready to send Clyde Drexler and the #2 pick for Ralph Sampson. If Houston agreed, they could have paired Hakeem with Drexler and Jordan, a dynasty in the making. Even without that deal, Houston had something unique. Sampson at 7'4" and Hakeem at 6'11" became the original Twin Towers. The Rockets jumped from 29 wins to 48, and their defense soared from 17th to 4th because no one could score inside. Sampson averaged 2 blocks, while Hakeem swatted 2.7 per game, adding 20.6 points and 11.9 rebounds. As a rookie, Hakeem was already an all-star, made the all-defensive second team, and finished second in Rookie of the Year voting behind Jordan. In the playoffs, the Twin Towers combined for 42 points, 30 rebounds, and 4 blocks a night. Houston lost to Utah in the first round, but the message was clear. This wasn't just another tall prospect. The dream had arrived, and the league had no idea how much bigger his impact would be.
That was only the beginning. Hakeem Olajuwon wasn't satisfied with being good. He wanted to be unstoppable. All summer, he worked like a man possessed under Moses Malone, who drilled him on conditioning, rebounding, and preparation. Moses taught him toughness, but the guard skills came from Hakeem himself. Growing up as a soccer goalkeeper in Nigeria gave him lightning-quick reflexes and elite footwork that no center could match. He wasn't content to just post up and dunk like a traditional big man. He wanted to face defenders, shake side to side, spin like a dancer, and score in ways no 7-footer should. Because he started basketball late, Hakeem never felt bound by old rules. He reinvented the center position.
He polished an outside shot and created a dizzying series of fakes and pivots that left opponents guessing. That's how the dream shake was born. Smooth, unguardable, deadly. Left, right, spin, fade, bucket. And if you beat him once, he was right back in the air, sometimes a second or third jump, contesting everything at the rim. That's why he wasn't just a scorer, but the most feared rim protector in basketball. Players thought they had easy shots, swatted, grabbed their own rebound, swatted again. Playing against him was like attacking a moving wall. When the Rockets drafted Hakeem, they expected a rim protector and rebounder. What they got was a monster with the skills of a guard, the instincts of a soccer player, and the relentless motor of someone who never stopped. By his second season, he was dominating. 23.5 points, 11.5 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3.4 blocks per game. He finished 4th in MVP voting, made All-NBA second team, and proved this wasn't just another center. This was the dream, and he was coming for everyone.
NBA success and championships. The Rockets were finally arriving. After years of struggle, they finished second in the West with over 50 wins, the best record in franchise history. And behind Hakeem's brilliance, they looked unstoppable. In the playoffs, they swept the Kings, then handled the Nuggets in 6. But the real test came in the conference finals against the mighty Lakers, the defending champions with Magic Johnson running the show, James Worthy at his peak, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar still dominant in his late 30s. Nobody thought Houston had a chance. Yet, Hakeem made the impossible real. Night after night, he battled Kareem, one of the most unstoppable big men ever, and matched him play for play. While the Lakers' Big Three averaged over 70 points, Hakeem answered with 31 points, 11 rebounds, 2 steals, and 4 blocks per game. The dream was everywhere, swatting shots, outworking Kareem, and scoring in ways no center ever had. In 5 games, the Rockets stunned the Lakers and advanced to the finals. "We tried everything," Lakers coach Pat Riley admitted. "We put 4 bodies on him. He's just a great player." But against Boston, the miracle ended. The 1986 Celtics were one of the greatest teams ever, with 67 wins and near perfection at home. Hakeem still put up 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. But Ralph Sampson struggled, and Houston ran out of gas. The Celtics won in 6. The following season, Hakeem kept improving, earning All-NBA First Team and All-Defensive honors. But Sampson's knees gave out. He missed half the season, rushed back, and got hurt again. Houston lost to Seattle in the second round, despite Hakeem averaging 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 blocks. By 1988, the Rockets traded Sampson to Golden State, leaving Hakeem to carry the franchise alone. He didn't slow down. In the 1988 playoffs against Dallas, he was a one-man wrecking crew. 37 points, 17 rebounds, nearly 3 blocks a night. He scored on hooks, fades, dream shakes. But his teammates couldn't keep up, and Houston lost in 4. That became the story for years, Hakeem dominating while management failed to build around him. He led the league in rebounds, led in blocks, and in 1990 made history with a quadruple double. 18 points, 16 rebounds, 10 assists, and 11 blocks. Only 2 players before him had ever done it. Still, despite his brilliance, Houston kept flaming out early. By 1992, frustration boiled over. He clashed with the front office about salary and their failure to build a contender. When he pulled a hamstring late in the season, management accused him of faking the injury. They suspended him without pay. Imagine that, your franchise player shamed by his own team. Hakeem demanded a trade. Everyone thought he was done in Houston. But before the 1993 season, he reconciled with owner Charlie Thomas. New coach Rudy Tomjanovich believed in him and built around him. With Robert Horry, Sam Cassell, Mario Elie, Kenny Smith, and Vernon Maxwell, Houston had a solid core. But the biggest change was Hakeem himself. Early in his career, he was hot-tempered and quick to fight. But in the late 80s, he fully embraced Islam, changing his name from Hakeem to Hakeem. It transformed him. He became calmer, more focused, and more dedicated. He even fasted during Ramadan, playing full NBA games without food or water, and still dominated. He said fasting gave him energy, and watching him, you had to believe it.
In 1993, he averaged 26 points, 13 rebounds, nearly 2 steals, and over 4 blocks per game. Finished second in MVP voting and won Defensive Player of the Year. The Rockets lost a heartbreaking 7-game series to Seattle, but the pieces were in place. By 1994, everything clicked. Rudy T had built a perfectly balanced team around him. Shooters to space the floor, tough defenders, and Hakeem at his absolute peak. The Dream Shake became legendary, a blur of spins, fakes, and fadeaways that left defenders helpless. Too close? He spun baseline. Back off? He drained the jumper. Double team? He found the open man. That year, he averaged 27 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks, and nearly 3 assists. He won MVP. He won Defensive Player of the Year. And then he went on one of the greatest playoff runs ever. First, Portland fell. Then came Phoenix, led by Charles Barkley, who had beaten him in MVP voting the year before. The Suns pushed it to 7, but in Game 7, Hakeem exploded for 37 points and 17 rebounds, eliminating Barkley. Utah was next with Stockton and Malone, but Hakeem was too much. Houston advanced in 5. And then the finals, Rockets versus Knicks. Hakeem versus Patrick Ewing, 2 defensive giants in a slugfest where every basket felt like life or death. No team cracked 100 in the entire series. Every rebound was a war. Every possession was survival. It all came down to Game 7. Under the brightest lights, Hakeem delivered. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 blocks, and his suffocating defense on Ewing, who shot just 36% all series. The Rockets won 90-84, capturing their first championship. Hakeem was Finals MVP, averaging 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 blocks, while holding Ewing to just 19 points per game. That season, he became the only player in NBA history to win MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and Finals MVP in the same year. The dream wasn't just real, he was unstoppable.
Later career and second championship. When the 1995 season started, the Rockets looked like champions again, opening with 9 straight wins. But midway through the year, they slipped, losing games and momentum. It was clear they needed a spark, so the front office made a bold move, trading Otis Thorpe and a first-round pick for Clyde Drexler, Hakeem's old college teammate from Phi Slama Jama. The reunion gave Houston new life. They finished with just 47 wins, entering the playoffs as the 6th seed, but nobody wanted to face them. The first round against Utah nearly ended their title defense. Down 2-1 in a best-of-5, Houston was on the brink of elimination. In Game 4, Drexler scored 41 and Hakeem added 40 to even the series. In Game 5, Olajuwon led with 33 points, carrying the Rockets through. They survived, but barely. Next came Charles Barkley and the Suns. After falling behind 3-1, Houston looked done, still trailing after 3/4 of Game 5. But they clawed back, forced overtime, and won. Then they took Game 6, and in Game 7, they completed the comeback. Only 5 teams in NBA history had come back from 3-1 down. Now the Rockets were one of them. Then came the Western Conference Finals, and for Hakeem, this was personal. He believed he was robbed of the MVP award, which went to David Robinson. When Robinson was handed the trophy before Game 2, Hakeem took it as fuel. Houston won Game 1 by a single point. In Game 2, Olajuwon delivered one of the most famous dream shakes ever, spinning Robinson completely around and finished with 41 points. The Spurs tied the series, but Hakeem wouldn't be denied. Over 6 games, he averaged 35 points on 56% shooting, plus 10 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 3 blocks. Against Robinson, against Shaq, against every superstar, he didn't just compete, he dominated. Even Shaq later admitted, he was the only guy I couldn't figure out, the only one I couldn't intimidate. The accolades prove it. Hakeem Olajuwon is the only player in NBA history to win the MVP, Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and the NBA championship all in the same season. Out of every legend the game has seen, only the kid from Nigeria who didn't touch a basketball until 15 ever pulled off that feat.
By 1996, Hakeem was still elite, averaging 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks, finishing 4th in MVP voting. But the Rockets were slowing down. They got swept by Seattle in the second round. In 1997, they added Charles Barkley, but with Hakeem 34, Drexler 35, and Barkley aging 2, their run ended in the conference finals when John Stockton buried a dagger 3 to send Utah to the finals. By 1998, Hakeem averaged under 20 points for the first time. Even with Scottie Pippen joining in 1999, the Rockets' title window was closed. Hakeem still made the All-NBA team, but after 2 more years in Houston, he was traded to Toronto, where he retired in 2002. Looking back, his prime was unreal. Over his first 13 years, he averaged 24 points, 12 rebounds, nearly 2 steals, 3.5 blocks on 52% shooting. And in the playoffs, he got even better. 27 points, 12 rebounds, 3 blocks a game. Only Kareem matches those numbers. With 3,830 blocks, he's the all-time leader, and he's the only center in the top 10 for steals. Combined blocks and steals, and he's nearly 2,000 ahead of David Robinson. He wasn't just a rim protector, he was a defensive system by himself. Teammates and opponents all said the same thing. He was the most complete center ever. Robert Horry, who played with Shaq, Duncan, and Hakeem, picked Hakeem as the best of them all. Even Michael Jordan had a losing record against him, and he once chose Hakeem in his all-time starting 5. And while Dirk's 2011 playoff run is praised as the greatest carried performance, Hakeem did it first in 1994, winning a title without another all-star by his side. The truth is, if you dropped him into today's game, his footwork, agility, and touch would make him just as dominant, maybe even more. He was ahead of his time, and that's why so many who faced him still call him the greatest center of all time. So now I'll ask you, where do you rank Hakeem Olajuwon among the best centers ever? Top 3? Number 1? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe, because I've got another incredible NBA journey waiting for you in the next video.